Hello! We're going cherry blossom hunting, but the weather forecast has changed, so it's going to be another grey day, I think. But I have several pages of locations. We're kind of in between cultivars right now and which ones bloom when. We're kind of at the end of the white ones and at the start of the fluffy pink ones. Very technical terms, but yeah, so let's get going. As you may have seen from Snackstant's episode 1, our mission began downtown. This is a little pedestrian walkway just south of Canada Place off West Cordova and between Hornby and Howe Streets. This is the square where the main character in Dead Like Me got squashed by a toilet. In the background here, you can see Mink Chocolates, a local chocolatier and cafe. Time to go! This horn plays at 12 PM every day at Canada Place. Sometimes you can hear it across the city. Back on the road, we had a little bit of problem finding trees that were in bloom. Either too early or too late for these ones. Too early, they're just budding. We're down here though. Here we're going over the Granville Bridge and you can see my favourite, the Burrard Bridge in the distance. And so we left downtown. These are all cherries, but I think we're a bit late. We spend the next couple of hours driving around the streets of East Vancouver from the Main and Fraser neighbourhoods to further east near Victoria Drive. Just keep hunting, hunting, hunting. Somehow I managed to plan a nice coherent circle for us to explore. See some on the horizon, just a couple. Yay, we found some that aren't falling off yet. Surrounded by the pink ones, which I forget the name of, I should have written it down. They'll be out in a couple of weeks. But look at these. Amazing specimens. Squids at play! Yay! I love squids. St. Catherine's 16th to Broadway. It's still a bit early. We have some sun, yay! And some blooms! We found some! Ah, yeah! Look at this street. Gorgeous. Some magnolias on the right. There's the cherry blossoms. Blue skies! Yay, look at all these. These are beautiful, really old ones grafted onto probably apple trees or something similar so they can survive the winter. Some more old specimens grafted onto apple trees. I had a ton more footage of just driving around looking at the empty Kansan trees because I really wanted to give you a sense of just how covered Vancouver's streets are. But on reviewing the footage, I realised without the blossoms it's just a little bit tedious to watch. I'll try to get back out there this week, now that they're all blooming. I love driving towards the north in Vancouver because you get such a good view of the mountains. From further away because the light was hitting them, they looked like they were in full bloom. Aside from the tree-lined streets, I love that there are just a lot of random standalone cherry and plum trees on private property across the city. We stopped at Gravelly in Victoria because the area is quite renowned for its blossoms, and even though we didn't really find any that had sprung yet, there were a couple of interesting things along the way. Tiny finch nest, I think, you see up in the top left corner. So this tree is not blooming yet, it has some buds, but I stopped to film it because it's a beautiful sample of how the trees are grafted. So you can see there's a very old, very thick trunk here that's probably an apple tree that can survive the winter, and then the cherries are grafted on top with this line here. It's pretty cool way to have some delicate cultivars that will last in our climate. Here I found an intersection with no curb cuts on any corner, and because I get around on wheels, it meant my plans to go any further were foiled. Thanks to Instagram, I had a feeling that the Joyce Collingwood neighbourhood would give me what I was looking for, and I wasn't disappointed.
The grass is really hard. It's really lumpy grass.
Oh dear. I wish there was smell-o-vision, it smells so good. Back in the car, and there were just 2 more locations that I was just sure we had to pay a visit to before the day was done. After a short rest, the sun came out in full force and we headed back west across the city.
Have a roll?
Yeah. Look at this branch that fell off. I wonder if I can keep it. Okay, so I just met a lady from Japan while I was filming, and she stopped to talk to me and tell me about how throughout Japan they have all the different varieties that bloom over an entire month that goes from the very south islands all the way to the north of the country. But in Vancouver we have all the varieties in the city, and so we get the entire month in one city without having to travel in a whole country. And she was talking about how beautiful and spectacular that is for just one city. So happy I got some sun and some blue sky. Perfect spring weather. The lady from Japan that I spoke to talked about how all those trees across the park are the next variety, which I believe is Kaneda. And those are the dark pink ones that we get across the city, which we've been driving around seeing very small buds of today. Maybe I'll come back out and film them in a couple of weeks. And finally, the last stop on this adventure is Creekside Park, down by Vancouver's little Fisherman's Wharf public fish market. When the cherry trees in this park are at their peak, they're particularly stunning. On this day I caught them just starting to wane, and late in the day when the park is mostly doused in shadow from the office buildings behind. You can't see, but one of those tiny little specks up there is a hummingbird, singing his song. Cars are being too noisy for you to hear, of course. As you can see, the park also offers stunning views of downtown and Vancouver's famous glass buildings. And that's all for the first episode of On a Roll. I hope you enjoyed the journey too. Let me know in the comments below if there's any adventures in Vancouver you've always wanted to do. Don't forget to hit the like button if you came along for the entire journey. You earned it. Thanks for watching. Bye!